The Wager Talk and Sports Memo November Thank You Special is a deal you guys cannot pass up. Get every college football and NFL play in the month of November for just $1.99. That includes 5 NFL Sundays and 4 college football Saturdays. Sign up now and you get the rest of October for free. That means 5 full weekends of football for under $40 per weekend, 5 weekends for less than the price of a 5% play per week. Just go to your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo Cappers homepage to lock in this offer before the games kick off this weekend.
Thank you so much for waiting for us. 66 of you. So greatly appreciated. Teddy covers. You look awesome. Great show, Steve Merril, Dave Sharapan. But lead story, Teddy, let's get straight to it. It's not election night. Our lead story is Monday Night Football and the Circa opening. Big party, a whole bunch of Wager Talk guys went down. I missed it. Joe didn't get invited. Steve Merril knew nothing about it. Why don't you tell us what went down?
I will, but don't worry about we'll have election talk on this show. We're going to have Maction talk on this show. Merrill's going to break down college football. Sharapan's going to give us odds maker impact. And yeah, we're going to talk election betting odds. But last night was not about any of that stuff. Last night was about a good time. At this first time, my first time at the Circa, obviously just opened last week. To see a casino designed around the sports book was amazing, dude. I mean, it really is a destination location. And it was packed and it was fun. And just about all the Wager Talk / Sports Memo handicappers in Vegas were there. There were lots of guys that came by and said hi. We really appreciated all the comments. I apologize. I didn't write down names, and I should have written down names. But I talked to at least half a dozen people that just came by, said hi, said in the sports book. It was cool. It was fun. And, of course, the game itself. And, look, when you're in the sports book hanging out with a bunch of people, you're not focused on the game the way you would if you're sitting in your house.
Yep.
But the game itself, everybody had the under, okay? So rowdy game. All of a sudden, about 5 minutes left, and Tampa's driving, and it gets real quiet. You know, Kelly starts freaking out. Marco starts get that intense look in his eye. And then, of course, the Bucs kick the field goal. The Giants convert 4th and 16 and then score the touchdown that sends the game over the total. And from a big, wonderful party, it was like, all right, well, time to go. It went from rowdy to less rowdy pretty quickly.
And I want to talk about that for a sec, because that's what me and you were talking about a couple of weeks ago on the show. Everyone's like, oh, you guys bet for a living. Oh, you're so lucky. There's a perfect example of a bunch of men having fun, getting excited, ready to go back to their wives, their girlfriends. Then they lose. Now they just sit in their car in a parking lot for an hour and cry. That's the mood swings that happen in our industry. No, you went home and had beautiful coitus.
There was no coitus last night, but it's certainly coitus. Jesus.
I know.
There was certainly.
I found that word somewhere in the back of my head.
Yeah, it wasn't a situation that everyone was going home and crying in their cars. You know, it was a situation where, and you also say, guys, you know, Kelly was there. Kelly Stewart, obviously, he'll be on the show tomorrow, making her Wager Talk Today debut.
Oh, yeah.
She had a couple friends with her. I mean, it was fun. It was a fun, but the atmosphere turned at least a little bit after after the game. The under went over, and that was, there was less fun and more. It's time to go.
Okay, so that's it. Let's bring in Steve Merril. Find out if he had coitus. I just want to use that word. Okay, Steve, we won't ask you that. How you doing, dude?
I'm not going to answer unless you spell it.
With a C.
That's more than I knew. I was guessing a Q perhaps was in there.
I know. I thought there might have been a Q in there as well. I agree. I agree.
There still might be.
I grabbed a C. Anyway, Steve, man, doing great. 7-3 NFL run. Congratulations. Doing wonderful in college. What a great addition Teddy Steve is to the Wager Talk team and to Wager Talk Today.
He's been here. It's not like an addition. Steve's been around for a while, dude. But yes, we're glad to have him on the team.
Okay. Now let's get to the show. Syracuse
Please.
plus 14 versus Boston College. Game 3-4, Mr. Merril. How do we bet this one?
Well, as always, I'm the Switzerland between Prez and Teddy. I'd say you were both right there. 25 years in the industry, as Teddy was saying, but then only a few months here at Wager Talk, as Prez was saying. So I'll give you both credit on that one. Now, Prez, great to be here. Teddy, as always, we did the NBA show this year. That's what it feels like. I've been here for a while because Teddy and I probably did 50-plus NBA shows over a couple months. Early in the week, guys, I'm looking at situational stuff, just like last Tuesday when we talked. I'll be crunching 6-7 sets of power ratings on Wednesdays when I do all the math work and everything. But I always look for situational setups, and there's some games this week that pop to me. One side I'd be on, or I'm going to pass. And I can't come here and make much of a statistical argument for Syracuse. They've been god-awful this year. One of the worst teams in college football, in my opinion. 1-6 straight up is not misleading. However, I do think this could be a real flat spot for Boston College after blowing the big lead against Clemson. They caught a real break when Trevor Lawrence tested positive for COVID a couple days before the game. They go in there still as a 26.5-point underdog, and they end up losing by 6 after leading by double digits. I think it's very hard to bounce back. People think letdowns happen after big wins. I've always said letdowns happen more after tough losses. And then you combine the fact they're now a 2-touchdown road favorite in this one. I think Syracuse has enough to stay within the number here, and it's really a pure play against Boston College for me. And they're not a great offensive team. They're averaging just 5.3 yards per play, just 2.9 yards per rush this year. So they're not exactly the type of team I want to lay more than 2 touchdowns with on the road, especially in what could be a real flat spot for BC.
So in the NFL, there are times that you can make money betting on bottom feeders. Look at the Giants, for example, who've been moneymakers for their supporters this year, a 1-win team. And they're not alone in that regard. Year in year, the Bengals have been a good moneymaker. They're a 2-win team. You can find weak teams in the NFL who are catching enough points to cover point spreads week after week. In college football, I've never been able to find a winning strategy involving the true bottom feeders like Syracuse. And in my mind, if you make a case for Syracuse, you throw the game in the trash can. You don't play it because those bottom feeders find ways to lose, oftentimes in excruciating fashion. If you had Kansas last Saturday, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You worried about that with the Orange, or do you think the spot here is so bad for BC that it doesn't matter how bad Syracuse is? Boston College, just their head's not going to be in the game.
Yeah, once again, Teddy, it's Syracuse or pass, and that definitely does not mean I'm going to get to the window or click a ticket, for Syracuse here. And by the way, that's been one of the biggest changes, Teddy, I've probably made over the last 5-6 years in my handicapping in college football, is I hardly ever play these big underdogs anymore and hope for the backdoor cover. So this is definitely not the type of game that might make my best bet ticket on Saturday morning at WagerTalk.com. And that's why I'm using it here early in the week. But I would play Syracuse here plus 14 or more. It's the only way I would play this game. But I'm not sure it will be an official best bet. Just want to make that clear to people. That's how I look at these games early in the week. And you're exactly right. I've actually used a lot of big favorites. By the way, I had BYU. Each of the last 2 Saturdays, I've had BYU laying more than 4 touchdowns. BYU's just been a pure play on for me this year. I've used them at least 3 times now, I think maybe 4. And I like teams that can extend the lead. And if you're playing these ugly ducklings, you hope they have backdoor cover potential. And the fact that Syracuse isn't a great passing team does give me concern in that regard.
Yeah, just to jump in real quick, Prez. I'm sorry, I didn't let you know, but just to jump in. One of the things that I've really focused on is in college football, when I'm taking the big dogs, I want the good offense, not the good defense. Because if you have a bad offense, you're down 3 touchdowns, or the game's over. Whereas if you have a terrible defense, but the offense is still alive, you have at least a chance for that drive to get down the field and into the end zone at the end of the game. Sorry, Prez.
Boys, breaking news. We're turning this show into a subscriber-thon. We are 27 subscribers away from 60,000 for our YouTube channel. That is massive numbers, guys. Go take a look at what our competitors are doing. These numbers are outstanding. I cannot thank you people enough. There are 209 of you watching this show live, and I know 27 of you have not subscribed. We need to hit 60,000 on this show. I'm going to get continual updates. Forget the election. It's subscribe-a-thon. Let's go. 27 away from 60K. Houston plus 13.5, Mr. Merril. Play in Cincinnati, 3:30 p.m. Eastern game. ESPN. You send really good notes, by the way. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, by the way, smash that like button, smash that subscribe. Right when Teddy and I started the NBA show a couple months ago, we were trying to hit 50,000, and now we're trying to hit 60,000 in just a few months. So I like the momentum. I want to be on the segment when it happens, guys. It's good for me, by the way. It makes me feel good. Teddy, this is actually one of the reasons I picked these two college games, because this transitions into what we were just talking about.
Yep.
I like Houston here better than Syracuse because they do have a good passing attack. They're averaging 8.5 yards per pass this season, 33 points a game. This is the type of team, Teddy, as you mentioned, I like to look for backdoor cover potential. And then I also think it's a potential flat spot for Cincinnati. Yes, they have two momentum-building wins where they put up 91 points. That's against SMU, an outright underdog win on the road, and it's against Memphis, who's also considered one of the best teams in conference. They're now taking a little bit of a step down, but it's still a dangerous Houston team. So similar to the last game, I talked about another underdog where I'm playing against the double-digit favorite due to the setup. But I definitely would feel more comfortable potentially in using Houston as a play this weekend because they can control the ball they can throw the ball through the air. They can score some points. This game definitely has better backdoor cover potential. Of course, Cincinnati, a very good defensive team. That's the concern. By the way, it opened 10.5. It's now up to 13.5, as Prez said. So let's see if we can get that key number of 14 here with Houston, just like we did with Syracuse. Play against spot for me here again, but I like Houston a little bit more because they have more backdoor cover potential.
Yeah, and this is one of those spots where clearly one team coming off a bad loss, the other team coming off back-to-back huge wins or back-to-back losses for the Cougs. So from a value standpoint, no question, you're probably catching a couple more points than you should with the Cougars. But my question for you, Merril, real quick, Dana Holgorsen, ass clown or good coach?
Yeah, there's a handful of guys that I handicap because they're good coaches. He is not one of them. So I'll answer it that way. He's not a guy that I'm looking to back necessarily out of the gate and might play despite. But, yeah, he's not on my top 5 or 10 list for sure.
Yeah, I mean, for me, anybody who wears a hat missing the hat part has lose. I mean, look, I'm coming clean, man. I wear socks without the foot part of them, so who does that? A hat that doesn't have it. Anyway, him and John Gruden should go to the hatless hat meeting. Let's go. Give us some likes, everybody. Steve Merril with us. NFL Redskins -3, -3.5 versus the Giants. And a lot of people would ask, well, the Giants covered that number against Tampa Bay. Sure, they could do it against Washington. Steve, how do we attack this game?
Yeah, first of all, Prez, I like that you said the Redskins because when I sent you the games I was using, I typed it out of habit yesterday. I actually have not used the Redskins.
I read your notes.
There we go. I got them, Teddy. I made them politically incorrect just for you.
Wait, that's $1.
I don't think I've used the Skins this year as an official play because I've probably subconsciously not done it because I don't want to have to type football team in my analysis because it's just painful. By the way, as a side, I grew up in the Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia area. I went to over 100 plus Redskin games in the 80s and 90s as a season ticket holder. Notice I just said, they were the Redskins then. Yeah. Red Tails needs to be the name. I'm big on that. It makes a lot of sense. We have a minute at the end here. I can explain why, but it should be Red Tails. Let's get behind that. But yeah, football team, Redskins, whatever you want to call it, they're actually control their own destiny because when they play the Eagles again, if they win, they will have swept the Eagles this year and they'll win the tiebreaker because Dallas obviously looks like they're fading. The Giants now at 1-7 are pretty much out of the race as well. And the Redskins were a 2-point conversion away from winning this game a few weeks ago. Keep in mind, they came back, went for 2, lost by 1. Otherwise, they would have won the game outright and the Giants would be winless. This is a situation, too, where it's a great play against spot. You'll notice all 3 games, as I said early in the week, I have a lot of math work to do still. I'm looking at situational setups. This was a tough spot for the Giants, and the way they lost last night, missing the 2-point conversion to force overtime, makes me like the letdown spot even more here on a short week, having to travel. And I think the Redskins actually have the edge on the line of scrimmage as well. Giants did look better last night, but I'm not reading too much into that. It was also very cold weather. Maybe that affected Tampa. Who knows? But the Redskins also coming off the bye week, guys. So scheduling-wise, this looks like a really good setup for the Skins. And then the line was 3.5 before the game last night. It briefly opened 3.5 this morning, and about 30 minutes ago before we came on the air, it's gone to 3 across the board. So also a very key number now. Redskins at 3 or less, much better value.
Steve Merril, awesome stuff. Love having you with us. See you next Tuesday, bro. Put that down in your calendar until
Thanks,
told otherwise. Anything quickly to promote?
WagerTalk.com, 7-3 NFL, 14-8 college football. We got college Mac Attack tomorrow Wednesday, as Teddy will talk about.
Prez word of the day, coitus. Oh, C-O-I-T-U-S.
Oh.
Teddy's word of the day, asshat. Okay. I think it was ass clown, but that's okay,
Yeah.
Joe. You got a lot of work to do in the background. You're entitled to miss a syllable here or there. Quick break, right back. Jam-packed show. Stay with us, Wager Talk today.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.
It's time for Bad Beats, Bad Bets, and Bad for the Books. BBBBBB. And of course, last night was a one-game night. So that's the game we're going to talk about because it was certainly one that was interesting from a betting perspective. The pros and the Joes and the bros took Bucks and under last night. Pretty heavy money. I mean, we saw the game opened, I call it 10 and a half, closed 12 and a half, 13 on Tampa. So steady Tampa money. Total got bet down 47 and a half, down to 46 and a half, 47. And the Bucks were never a threat to cover. Giants were the right side, clearly. From a total standpoint, you saw it, 4th and 16. Giants convert, and then they get the touchdown. And then no overtime on the flag that gets picked up on the 2-point conversion. So Giants money line bettors don't get paid. Even the 10-point teaser guys didn't get paid. If you had laying the points with the Bucks in that game, but that game closing 12 and a half, 13, not enough. That's what you had for the lone major decision for bookmakers last night. Now, Prez, we got to talk presidential election odds. Not talking about who we support. We're talking about where the betting markets are. And right here on election day, it's morning here on the left coast still. It's 9:20 in the morning. We've seen at least moderate odd shift towards Biden this morning. Last night I went to bed. The broader market was Biden minus 180, Trump plus 150, let's say, because they are using, I'm not seeing a 20-cent spread on this thing, 30 cents, minus 115 either way is the standard. Unfortunately, for political elections. This morning, minus 180 last night. This morning, I'm seeing Biden in the minus $2, minus 210 range. Now, again, none of this is legal in the U.S. This is all offshore and it's non-U.S. marketplace. But we are seeing an odds shift. However, the price is really varying from book to book offshore, whether it's an exchange, whether it's books from Costa Rica, whether it's books from the UK. We're seeing a legitimate difference in the quote-unquote global price. Biden the favorite. But again, Hillary was minus $8, minus $9, minus 1,000 at this point. Biden at the high right now is minus $2, minus 210 against Trump for tonight. Prez?
Teddy, what about the actual states? I mean, do you see any value here? I mean, you've got Biden as a huge dog in Texas, Trump a huge dog in Wisconsin, Trump a huge dog in Nevada, Trump a huge dog in Minnesota, and so on and so forth. You and I have looked at the odds state by state. I can't really wade in here. I mean, my prediction is Trudeau is going to be the prime minister tomorrow of Canada. I'm prepared to make a big bet on that. Anything in state by state at all? Florida, fairly close.
So I'm not going to go through state by state right now. I just don't have opinion. I do think Nevada is blue, and I've got fairly good connections. When you hear about those teams of lawyers, a couple of those guys are my buddies, so the prevailing wisdom is Nevada's blue. In terms of the other states, I can't tell you, and I don't want to try to tell you from a betting standpoint. I do know this. All right, there's liberal bias in the market. Make no mistake about it. There was in the 2016 election. And when you think about the bettors who are actually in this marketplace, who are moving the numbers and betting the numbers, we're not generally talking, I have to say, we're not talking necessarily hardcore Trump supporters. That's not his base that is involved in the betting market. So I honestly think that Biden deserves to be the favorite. At plus $2, I might look at Trump as the value.
Teddy, my parents never learn. Every day they call me between 12 and 1 Eastern. Every day. Mm-hmm. And then at 1:30, I call them between 12 and 1, and they say, oh my God, I forgot. And then the next day we go through the exact same thing. Anyway, it's $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Guys, Matt Joseph, he's on our show every Friday. He is so good. He's the $2 Tuesday over at Sports Memo, and he's got a 5% college football total. It's his first one ever. I mean, you want to talk about a rare play, bro. That is as rare as it gets. It's literally his first one ever. Head over to sportsmemo.com. Grab Matt Joseph's 5% college football team total as well. $2 Tuesday at WagerTalk.com. So check that out. A big thank you to everyone for being with us. Johnny Goebel, Jimmy Stain. How great a name is that, Jimmy Stain? I think it's as good as it gets. If you're a handicapper and you need to make up a name, Jimmy Stain would be a good name to make up. You want to say something?
He's already using it.
Yeah, we can steal it from him. We don't
close
to
to steal it. It's his
60,000
name.
subscribers.
Might be his real name.
Williams, Nate, Proud. Shut up, Teddy. We love having you with us. Make sure you guys come tomorrow. Big show. Arthur DeCesar and Kelly Stewart making her Wager Talk a debut. Johnny Detroit just logged on. Trump favored in Ohio, Florida, blah, 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 blah. Teddy, let's take a quick break. Dave Sharapan and his biceps up next.
The Wager Talk and Sports Memo November Thank You Special is a deal you guys cannot pass up. Get every college football and NFL play in the month of November for just $1.99. That includes 5 NFL Sundays and 4 college football Saturdays. Sign up now and you get the rest of October for free. That means 5 full weekends of football for under $40 per weekend, 5 weekends for less than the price of a 5% play per week. Just go to your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo Cappers homepage to lock in this offer before the games kick off this weekend.
Eddie, Dave Sharapan. I mean, listen, some like him, some don't. The ones who don't are just plain wrong. Dave, how many are them? Oh, my God.
What? What's wrong?
I don't
What's
even know
matter?
What are you wearing?
This is part of the ensemble that I wore the other night to the Circa grand opening. This is called the Tino hat. This is the topper to the entire tuxedo that I was hoping maybe we could get a look at. I want to see if you can pull this look off, Prez. I'm not sure you can. You're probably not ready for it. I mean, you may have in your younger days.
Dave,
you look fantastic now, but I mean, it was a teal tuxedo with black and white shoes and this.
Let me tell you something on behalf of both Teddy and I.
Please.
When you are in your 50s and you have hair like this and like Teddy, you ain't covering it with a bloody hat. and especially one as stupid as that. It looks like crap. I'm rhyming, baby.
I think it's sharp. And so let's talk about the Circa opening. Shut up, Prez. You've had enough of this interview. Let's talk about the Circa
opening, Dave.
Did you go down there at midnight? Were you there for the late night, the festivities on opening night?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, let me just say that if Prez doesn't like it, I know it's good. That's we
well
start
said.
off everything like that. As long as Prez doesn't like it, I'll lay it. I'm good. The Circa grand opening was great. It was we went down. My planned schedule with my wife and I on our second date night of 2020 was to leave the house by 8. So you guys are married, we got out of the house by 9. So that was a win. I mean, I had to wait and, pace and are we close to being ready yet? We finally got out the door. We stayed until 4:30 in the morning just because we absolutely, we're having a good time. I got to see a lot of people that I hadn't seen for years. And it was a lot of fun. The book, and Teddy, you're my guy. I mean, really, you're my man. I saw you guys at Circa last night. I feel like I'm part of the WagerTalk family, not officially, but like I'm the cousin that wants to be a part of all of it and stuff. And I like Circa. I like sports books, and I like you. But I didn't know that you were down there last night. A quick text, a quick, shoot. Hey, Dave, we're going to be there if you want to show up. I would have gladly come out. The place is amazing, is it not?
So if you'd have watched the show yesterday, you'd have known that we were going down there. But I should have sent you a text. Absolutely. It's 100% my fault. And I'm guilty, even though I didn't put the party together, because I like hanging out with you. But 4:30 in the morning, I can't do like midnight, I turn into a pumpkin, it wasn't happening on opening night, let alone like me. I would have to put on, I don't have a tux, so I'd have to put on some kind of a suit. And I'm not putting on a suit. This is as dressy as I get. It's a jacket and a t-shirt.
Well, I did watch a brief part of the show yesterday, and I just wanted to mention that as well, that I knew it was Monday, and I knew that there was $9 Mondays, and I'm not even a part of this. And yet there's someone here, one of us of the three, did not know that it was Monday and that the promotion was not $9. So before we go any further, today is Tuesday, and it's $2 Tuesdays on WagerTalk.com. Is it not?
Yeah,
Response,
Dave,
Prez?
it is. And thank you for pointing that out. But let's get to it, dude. We got some guy just said he literally gave us a thumbs down, Teddy, because we haven't given out any information on the show. We've done one NFL pick, 2 college football picks, Teddy's bad beats, a whole bunch of politics talk, a subscriber-thon. Dave, let's get into football. Yeah, Teddy said, ass clown. How good was that? Come on, Dave. Give us something that the listeners can use. Forget the damn Circa.
Okay. No problem, Prez. We'll jump right into it. The usual procedure for this segment is to review what happened over the weekend and then kind of look forward. So I'll take the review first and let you guys steer it where you want to go going forward. Sunday was great for the books. I mean, it was a really, the dogs ruled the day. I think they were 8-4, 6 outright wins. Dogs cover but lose is perfect scenario for most of the books. Huge moves on the totals under because of weather now being a factor in some places. And, of course, the games were like 8-4 to the over. So weather doesn't mean bet the under. It may have used to back in the day when, I had hair and both of you were, not fully gray like you are. But, it's one of those things that you have to look at the number as much as anything. And don't just – wind is the most important thing. We've gone over this for years. Don't buy into this, it's going to rain. It may snow. None of it matters. Pay attention to the totals, and you can see the line movement. The late stuff is crazy. I'm really not convinced that these late moves are the right moves. San Francisco moved day of game 2 points off of 3 down to 1, and they got blown out and look like they may not even make the playoffs now. There's a lot going on in San Francisco. So last night's game was good also for the books. I mean, anytime a big favorite like Tampa doesn't cover the teasers, the books are pretty happy. So after the week before when, the books needed the Kleenex and were crying, it was our worst week of the year, they can bounce back with arguably the best week of the season.
So when you have one of these disaster weeks for bettors, and let's call it, the week where the bettors really get slapped around and the books cash in, do you see handle drop the next week? Do people have less money to bet with? Or does the handle pretty much stay the same and it just goes up when people win a lot?
Well, so this year's a little bit different than years past. In years past, as this type of week happens later in the year, holidays are coming around. A lot of people get distracted. Handle drops a lot. But this year, we got like MAC is starting Wednesday. A lot of college games, teams, conferences are just starting to play 1 game in, 2 games in. The Pac-12 is coming up. So I think that is, in a weird way, is going to keep handle up longer. But, yeah, after some weeks like that in the NFL, they keep coming back. The NFL always brings it back. And as long as there are teams and, stuff is wide open, I think handle will stay up. But, yeah, after a week like this, usually, unless there's, something really big in town with conventions, which right now there's none, handle probably will drop.
So when we have this weird situation, normally this time of year, we're talking about college hoops, we're talking about NBA, we're talking about NHL. There's stuff going on during the week. Now it's Thursday night football, whatever you have on Friday nights, games all day, Saturday and Sunday, and then Monday night football, and then blank. Well, we got Maction coming in to fill some of that over the course of the next couple of weeks. What have you seen in the I guess Maction's going to be going all through December with the weeknight Mid-American Conference games. Number 1, is the handle through the roof on these? Number 2, do casual bettors ever win betting the MAC? And number 3, are you seeing any action worthy of note on the Maction for Wednesday night this week?
Damn, 3 questions in one. I can't remember question number 1, but I'll try my best. Maction is usually good, but it's usually standalone. So, there's 1 game, and handle is great on it because it's 1 game. This is spread like 5 games, 6 games on Wednesday. So I think it's going to be spread thin. We haven't seen much of anything yet. There's no sharp action in college football is so late. It's usually, we've seen it in years past on Wednesday and Thursday for Saturday. Now it's like day of game, or it's like late Friday night when there's, hopefully the night cruise at the book. Things are a little bit different rather than day of game. But that's when the action is. So, I expect more volatility and line movements on Wednesday than right now. So if you have a heads up on a side or a total, this is a lot of guesswork. Nobody knows anything really about these teams. And there's sides, some places haven't put totals up. I expect them to not put totals up until day of game. But if you can find an edge, there's going to be line moves right now or on Wednesday that you can be ahead of if you're playing the MAC right now.
Dave, let's look at NFL for Sunday. Line moves. The Seattle Buffalo up and down last night, 3s across the board. Now 2.5 for Seattle. Massive total. But that total is taking a lot of money. There's line moves in a lot of these games here. Obviously, we know why San Fran went from a pick to +5. The Chargers came out at -2.5, went down to 1.5. What type of info are you hearing? Give our listeners some information that they can bet on for these Sunday games, and what games stand out to you now that, if you're going to bet Seattle, take them now, that type of a thing.
Yeah, Seattle-Buffalo is a really interesting game because there's already been kind of opposing, syndicates, groups, whatever, sharp sides on both sides of that game. That one is going to be a really heavy handle game, and it's a strong matchup. Both teams really good records. Both teams' defenses, I don't think are good. I mean, you don't see usually 54 totals in a game in Buffalo in November.
Yeah,
But
crazy.
it seems really high, but this is one that I would look to play over before I played under, because I think both teams score, 28 points. So we're already over there. And I don't know. That one's going to be a tough one. Who's going to win? But I think the line is probably going to close 3. I think we're going to bounce it back and forth a couple times. But every time you get to 3, you get that, limit play, or the bad guy wants to play it. The other game, like the Saints and the Buccaneers, is the Sunday night
I wanted
game.
to talk about that. It's really interesting because it was -4 across the board, and then Tampa Bay goes and lays a complete egg. Granted, they still won, but man, they looked all out. It's best running D in football. They couldn't stop the run, and yet the line has gone to 5.5, 6 at Penny.
I don't get it. I don't get the move. And I think this is one of those games that, we like to say, for people that have been around, that they're setting this one up by playing it now and moving it early like this, because I think the Saints money's coming. I think the Saints are definitely going to be a play. I watched the game last night. I didn't see anything that would justify a full point and a half move after that performance. And, those Monday night games, they're on the road, and then they come home after that performance. People remember what they see last. And listen, Tampa is one of the most popular teams of the entire season. Every single week they're betting them. They're down to 5-1, fellas, to win the Super Bowl. Tampa is 5-1 to win the Super Bowl. It's only week 8 after, we're going up on week 9. I don't get it. That game stuck out for sure. I don't know. Let's play lines maker, fellas. Pittsburgh at Dallas is what should that number be? I've had a bunch of discussions because, my Steelers are the only undefeated team left in football. They're down to 5-1 to win the Super Bowl, which I find pretty funny as well. I don't think, they're making parade plans at home in Pittsburgh for this team. But what do you think the line would be, Prez? Pittsburgh at Dallas right now.
I made the number 11.5. I made it 11.5.
Okay. Which way do you think people will bet if you guys put up that number?
11.5.
Pittsburgh.
You'll get the public betting on Pittsburgh, and I think you'll have enough pro support to keep it in that range. Maybe 12. I wouldn't think that would go up to 14. Do you? I don't know. No, not this week with Pittsburgh. Not coming off of Baltimore and Tennessee. No. 11. It'd be 11.5, 12.5.
Dallas is 0-8 against the spread, which I believe, you can probably ask Ralph when he comes on. But 0-8 against the spread has never been done before at this point. No one has ever started a season 0-8. Is that correct?
That's incorrect. There have been a handful of teams that have done it. It hasn't happened in a long time.
Okay. Well, I don't know when they're going to cover, but I don't think it's this week against Pittsburgh. I just don't think they're going to score enough points. So I would make this number 13.5 and try to get some Dallas money early, just like they did with the Philadelphia game. I mean, we hung at 10.5 and couldn't get enough sharp money at 10.5. Everyone bet it. All the sharps had it, like they've had the Jets week after week after week, and they continue to burn money, taking the value with the Cowboys. So I don't know. I find it interesting. I can't wait to see someone put up a number, whether it's DiNucci or Dalton. Does that make a difference? People keep asking me, what are quarterbacks worth? I don't think there's much difference, but there's a very small margin between if Dalton plays, you're going to tell me it's 11 versus if DiNucci plays, it's 13.5. I tell you, you're crazy. I think just hang 13.5 and take as much wise guy money as you want at 13.5 because no one else is going to bet it that way less than 14.
Dave Sharapan with us. Dude, anything to promote before we let you go? You selling those hats to the general public?
No, I got the hat at Chapel Hats, and I'm trying to make an arrangement deal with them. because, a lot of people like the hat, Prez, and they want it, or they want a hat that looks like it. So that's a place where you can get it. My personal Twitter is @SportsBKConsig, which is for Sportsbook Consigliere, which a consigliere would wear a hat like this. So that's kind of, on top of everything else. And the podcast we do with the lines guys that I work with is @GT Cash Considerations. And that's it. I don't know. I mean, Prez, can I just get a peek at a bicep? Can I get a peek before I go?
Well,
oh, God.
Joe's not.
Right.
There you go.
Joe's not happy with
Hey,
me right
Dave,
now.
have you subscribed to our Wager Talk channel?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me?
Good.
I watched the Tuesday show religiously
Okay.
because I'm
Answer
on it
was
and
just
Ralph's on it.
yes. Dave, the answer was just yes. Guys, 23 more to go to hit 60K. Stay with us. Right after the break, Teddy's Mac action, big game breakdown. Ralph Michaels, Dave, get the hell out of here. Joe, put Kelly on, please.
No baseball, basketball, or hockey to get you through until the football weekend? Don't worry, we have you covered over at WagerTalk and SportsMo with our soccer handicappers. Get the rest of 2020 from your favorite soccer expert with an all-access soccer package for just $249. This is normally priced at $399, but right now it's discounted $150 off, and it includes any 5% plays normally priced at $40. Just head over to WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com to take advantage of this deal to lock in one of your soccer experts through the end of the year.
It's time for Big Game Breakdown here on Wager Talk today. And I guess I'm fixated on the MAC and the MACtion in early week action. We broke down one game yesterday. Let's talk about another one today. And unfortunately, literally, this line is moving right now. Buffalo, Northern Illinois. I'm going to say before I give my analysis, it's moving as we speak. Was 11.5, 12, and now I'm seeing 13s on the board since the start of the show. So if you want to get involved on the Buffalo side, I do it sooner rather than later. Now, the MAC, as much as any conference in college football, teams rise to the top and fall to the bottom. This isn't a Clemson's going to dominate the conference, or Ohio State's going to dominate the conference, or Alabama's going to dominate the conference. The last 5 years in the championship game for the MAC, 9 different teams: Miami, Toledo, Akron, Central Michigan, Buffalo, Northern Illinois, Bowling Green, Western Michigan, and Ohio, in the last 5 years have all played in the championship game. So the basic point is that in the MAC, you're not looking at historical success. You're looking at what team is good this year. Northern Illinois was in the championship game 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 18. They're not going to be in the championship game this year. Okay. It has been, it was a program that had more sustained success in the conference than most. But when we look at what this team has gone through in the offseason, it's really, really ugly. Okay, the Huskies, let's see, of their 20 leading tacklers from last year, only 7 return. They, on the roster, 57 newcomers, 66 underclassmen, only 30 total upperclassmen, 16 seniors, 14 juniors, compared to 66 underclassmen and 57 guys who are new on the team. 5 starters back on defense. Their talent might be better, but game one, this team has no experience in key positions: running back, offensive line, defensive line, secondary. They brought in 6 new quarterbacks, 4 transfers, 2 freshmen, although Ross Bowers is likely to get the start, and he stinks. Okay, he was not good at Cal. I'm not convinced he's going to be good here. Buffalo has to deal with a couple of Buffalo looks like a contender in this conference for sure. They return both their quarterbacks. Top 2 running backs are loaded, and they've lost 12 in a row to Northern Illinois. Some of the quotes from Buffalo were a little bit concerning for me. They did not have anything like a regular offseason. Players had to train by themselves. They were talking about there were some concerns there. They had a COVID outbreak back in September. I'm not convinced Buffalo's A game is going to be there, but Northern Illinois, not a team I want in game one. If I'm playing, I'm laying. Back to you, Prez.
Literally the exact thing I tell Vivian on a regular basis. If I'm playing, I'm laying. Ralph Michaels joining us. The Pen. Excited to have you, bro. How you feeling? Are you under the weather or what's going on?
It went down, but I decided to do the responsible thing. So damn responsibility got in the way. Hate when that happens.
We missed you,
Tuesday,
Ralph.
Wednesdays are the long media days. So, had it been the end of the week, I would have gone. But Wager Talk Today is too important. Plus, the college football show with Drew and Rob and the videos. So a couple bits of info. I always tune in to watch Dave. And so a couple bits going through what you guys talked about. 6 MAC games today because they weren't going to play Election Day. The next 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, they play 3 games on Tuesday, 3 games on Wednesday. So the perfect split for MACtion on Tuesday, Wednesday. A lot of people saw that crazy wind weather last week in Cleveland and in Green Bay. Nothing like that this week. In fact, Buffalo, 64 degrees and sunny with no wind. So weather will not be an issue like it was last week. Now, let's take care of today's business. Angle of the day. I have 2 MAC angles for you guys. Eastern Michigan, I'll tell you what, probably the best away dog in college football. Now 15-2-1, including 8 outright upsets under Creighton. He's done an amazing job coaching. And Teddy, I know on yesterday's show you faded Bowling Green. How about this? When the total's 51 or higher, when there's been some low totals, Bowling Green's got a lot of points and they hung around with that low total. But Bowling Green is now 8-34 against the spread when a total is 51 or higher. That's only 19%. You want me to break it down to more recent? 1-11 the last 12 games, and worried about a double-digit point spread or a 20-plus point spread like this week? Bowling Green, 3-16 against the spread when they're getting 16 or higher, and they're only 2-10 ATS when they're getting 21 or higher. So when you have an angle that works, when you have subsets that work, and then you have the super subsets that work, a much stronger angle instead of data mining the results you just want. And sure. Situational play, this one is a little data mined, and we'll talk about it and see if we get the ups or downs with you, Teddy. In November, you play on a home team with revenge that is also off a loss, and the line's between the 3s. So I think losses mean more later in November. You're playing conference games. Revenge, you played this team last year and you lost. You're at home between the 3s, so you have a comparable opponent. Those teams like UTEP this week, 40 ATS wins, 21 ATS losses, 3 pushes, 66%. And anytime I have a between the 3 angles, I want to also look at the straight up record. Well, teams like UTEP in this situation between the 3s, you would think 50-50 straight up. But they are, in fact, 39-25 straight up, 60.9%, with an average line of being plus 0.5 points. And if I look at home and pick'ems since 2010, they have only won 43%. So teams in this situation straight up, almost 17.6% higher straight up, and a 66% ATS. Thumbs up, thumbs down, Teddy.
So this is the caveat for 2020. Conceptually, it makes a ton of sense when you're talking about teams that have played a normal football season. Teams that are playing that are towards the end of the season as they get in November, because this is a November angle. I would not use this angle at all for the Big Tens or the MACs or the Mountain West or the Pac-12s of the world that are just getting started, because it's not a normal season and the November games aren't November games for those teams per se. For your other conferences that have been playing since September, I would say use that angle 100%. And your UTEP is certainly a team that has been playing for the last 2 months, so it makes a lot of sense. You agree with me because I saw you clapping.
Oh, No question. The exact same thought, Teddy. And UTEP's first game was September 5th. So, yes, they had a game or two canceled in there, but they started with August football and September. So, very astute point, Teddy. Awesome job. And now I want to break down totals, guys. And, we know that the NFL totals started off at a historic pace. We know that the totals are still higher. But how about this breakdown, Prez? We've talked about this on Presidential Address each of the last 2 weeks. When you have the highest totals, does it behoove you to play the over? When you have the lowest totals, is there an advantage to playing the under? Well, I have numbers just to back that exact point. Since October 1st, so I am taking those first 4 weeks out of the season when teams got situated, when the lines started to go crazy. Since October 1st, if your total is 48 or lower, you have gone 65.5% to the under. If your total is 48.5 or higher, you have gone 60.5% to the over. So at that 48 marker, under it, 65% to the under, over it, 60.5% to the over. And then when I look at year to dates, this year, when I look at 48 and under, the average total is 45.1. Looking back the previous 5 years from 2015 to 19, the average total was 43.5. So when we have a total of 48 and a half, 48 or lower, this year's total is plus 1.6 points per game. When we have a total of 48 and a half and higher, this total is an increase of 1.4 over the previous years. So, Prez, great point you made. Highest totals have gone over. Lower totals have gone under this NFL season since October 1st or the last 5 weeks.
Thanks so much, Ralph, and that's awesome stuff. Guys, we got to wrap this show up. I just want to say real quick, we are 19 people away from 60,000 subscribers. Thank you, guys. We picked up about 10 or so during the show, so thanks so much. $2 Tuesday, Brian Leonard at WagerTalk.com. Matt, I'll get to you. I see the finger. Matt Joseph at Sports Memo. And Ralph, tell us about the $199 promotion we got going.
I'm not even talking about that.
Well, I'm asking you about it.
I'm not going to answer it. Vote 2020. VOTE 2020. 50% off any daily package today at WagerTalk or Sports Memo. Vote 2020, 50% off right now. Just go there, type the special in, 50% off any daily package, Sports Memo or WagerTalk.
There you go, guys. Vote 2020. So much going on tomorrow. Arthur DeCesar, Kelly Stewart, Ralph Michaels, Teddy Covers, and myself, and we will be way over 60,000 by then. Everybody make sure you vote today. That's the most important thing. I love you all. Joe Ranieri, great work in the background. Teddy, Ralph, Dave Sharapan, Steve Merril, shout out to you all. I'm the Prez. Teddy, take us home.
Sure. For Lawrence Presman, for Ralph Michaels, for Dave Sharapan, for Steve Merril, and for myself, Ted Savransky, a.k.a. Teddy Covers. I want to say thanks to all the ass clowns out there. We'll see you again in 23 hours.
The Wager Talk and Sports Memo November Thank You Special is a deal you guys cannot pass up. Get every college football and NFL play in the month of November for just $1.99. That includes 5 NFL Sundays and 4 college football Saturdays. Sign up now and you get the rest of October for free. That means 5 full weekends of football for under $40 per weekend, 5 weekends for less than the price of a 5% play per week. Just go to your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo Cappers homepage to lock in this offer before the games kick off this weekend.